You want it? We have it. The hottest mortgage and real estate strategy broadcast in the nation. A Smarter Way Home with your host, Danielle Boote and Victor Bals. 50 years combined experience, ranked in the top 1% in the nation for home loan originations 2020. Promise to expand your knowledge, utilizing creative mortgage financing and home buying strategies. Build a bridge for a better quality of life. Get your brain cells firing for a smarter way home. And welcome to A Smarter Way Home. I am your host, Victor Bals, loan officer over 20 years, and we bring you modern mortgage strategies along with home buying strategies in today's market. And I am here with my wonderful co-host, the loan officer extraordinaire, Mrs. Danielle Boote.
Good morning, Victor. Oh boy, you're a little excited today.
Yes, I am a little bit excited today because it's, well,
how much coffee have you had?
Well, I got to the office actually at 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh, that's a little, that's a little too early.
A little bit early. But how are you doing this morning, Danielle? And what do we got on tap here today?
Great. Well, we are really excited here to have a good friend of ours and coworker, Dave Saylor, who is a loan officer at our branch in Brighton.
Yep, we are at Highlands Mortgage here, and we have Mr. Dave Saylor, and Dave and I actually go back, and Danielle, you may not know this, but Dave and I actually went to junior high school together.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that or not.
I think I used to pick on you, Dave, didn't I?
I don't remember it that way.
Okay, well, that's good.
So anyway, welcome aboard, Dave Saylor. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Oh, good. So anyway, we wanted to bring on some of our loan officers and actually highlight what you do, what makes you tick, because there's different personalities in the mortgage business, and we want our consumers and our real estate professionals we work with to understand some of these personalities and understand the deep experience and knowledge that we have. So, Dave, I want to ask, just go through some questions here. Where were you born and raised?
Livonia, Michigan.
Livonia,
just
Michigan.
Like you, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that back in the day there. And how many years did you live there?
Well, I was there, born there, moved in the 7th grade, came out here to the sticks of Howell back then. You know, a lot of people seem to migrate this way, but yeah.
So did you finish school out here in Livingston County?
Absolutely, graduated from Howell High School in 1983.
What was your major, Dave, when you went to college? Did you go to college?
I did. I took some college, but I did not get a degree.
Okay. So did you ever think you'd be in the mortgage business?
No, I kind of stumbled into it like so many others, but I'm glad I did.
Well, I've never known anybody to when they're kids to say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a mortgage person or a real estate agent. We all
everybody wants to be garbage men, firemen.
I was the garbage man.
Yep, you were the garbage man.
Garbage man or the astronaut.
I always wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I wanted to be an athlete. So
an athlete.
Love sports, still do.
Yeah. I see that.
Glad you didn't make the Lions.
Actually, you'd probably be a better quarterback.
Yeah, could be.
So anyway, do you have children?
I've got 3 grown kids, 2 daughters and a son, and a grandson now, which is...
You got a grandson.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I understand you actually live in Fenton, outside of Livingston County right now, correct?
It's actually in Livingston County.
Oh, okay.
It's in Tyrone Township, but it is Fenton. Got a couple acres out there, and it's awesome.
Are you an animal lover at all?
I would not say that. I mean, I like animals, but I don't have any.
They're a lot of work.
They're a lot of work, and
You've got your hands full.
I got my hands full, and I work a lot. You know?
Do you do any traveling at all?
I love to travel. We were just talking about it off air, but I'm a big Las Vegas guy. Love to go there. I go there at least once a year, if not twice. Savannah, Georgia last year.
So obviously you're not winning because you're going back. What are some of your favorite local restaurants around here? Where do you like to frequent?
Well, living in Fenton, downtown Fenton has some really nice. The Laundry. There's a Chow, which I think is related to Chow Michi here in Brighton. The Fire Hall. There's some good restaurants. Lucky's Steakhouse.
Oh yeah, Lucky's is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: what makes Dave Saylor happy? What makes you happy in life?
I guess if we tie it back to to kind of get into the work stuff, you know. So when I got into business, I kind of stumbled into it, and I was working at a job as a supervisor in a factory, actually, and I was salary position working probably 75 hours a week. And frankly, I wasn't very happy. I had, 2 young kids at the time at home and my wife, and I knew I kind of had to get out of there, and I just needed an exit plan. I'm not the type to just up and quit. I had responsibilities. And, I actually had a friend and neighbor that was in the mortgage business. And actually, we were talking, I'll never forget, at a Michigan State football party, game party. And he was telling me all about it. And I decided I'm going to do this. And, at the time, no sales experience. I don't think I knew how to spell mortgage,
No, nobody does when you start out.
Right.
I actually did. I passed that question.
Did you really?
Because I actually hired in at the same company Dave went to
Right.
at some point. Yeah.
Right. So I ended up, kind of taking the leap. I worked on weekends and Saturdays with the manager there just to kind of learn the business for about a month and a half. And then I just took that leap and, never looked back.
So you went from salary to 100% commission.
100% commission. Again, looking back, I can't even believe I took that risk. But again, but it was sink or swim. And there was no, we'll give you a salary for 6 months or anything like that. It was, here you go, Dave, there's the phone. And, I just went at it. And I'll never forget my first closing, and I was hooked. My first closing might have been my best closing, and shout out to Laura Toms. She was the realtor on the deal at Century 21 in Howell there. And it was, of course, when you start out, it's family and friends that you're trying to get the business from. And she worked at the factory I worked at, young single woman that frankly had kind of a tough life. Nobody in her family had ever owned a home prior to her. She was coming out of a really, really bad relationship. And at that closing, she was tears of joy. She was hugging me. I was getting emotional. It was, I remember after that closing, I went back and, told my wife at the time, I think I like this. I think I made a good choice, because it just, going back to what makes me happy. Helping her, and really changing her life, it just
kind of satisfying.
It was very satisfying, and I've kind of been hooked ever since.
Well, let me ask you this. If money was no object, where would you be and what would you be doing at this point if money were no object?
If money were no object,
Yep.
I don't know. I would, of course, want to be spending a lot of time with my family and my grandson. I would not be in Michigan in the winter, to be honest with you. I would definitely be somewhere warm, and just enjoying life.
Okay, let me ask you this then. What are some of your greatest challenges today, personally and business-wise? What are some of the greatest challenges you have?
I don't know. I think business-wise, I think maybe tying into kind of, when I started in the business, the challenge was really just to be honest and close a loan on time. And, if you did that, and again, so this is back in, January of 1998 when I officially started. There's been, as you guys well know, a lot of changes since then. And, if you did that, you were kind of a rock star. And that's changed, thankfully. And, one thing about that I think people forget about, and I don't know about you guys, but I didn't use email. I didn't use cell phone. I think they were just kind of getting started, That's it, So
we had back then we had those big brick satellite phones. You remember?
Yeah, like
those?
the car bag.
And then it went
phones.
into the bag phone thing.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. And it sat next to your fax machine?
Yeah.
Well, and a lesson that I learned going back to that first closing, I'll never forget this. And this maybe goes into the kind of the challenge today is this woman who, again, couldn't have been more grateful. It was like the greatest day of her life when she closed on that. And, she, was very thankful for me and Laura Toms. And I ran into her at the grocery store 3-4 years later. Mm-hmm. And again, no communication since then. She might have got a letter in the mail, maybe once or twice in that 3 or 4 years. And in talking to her, she's like, "Oh yeah, the house is great, and yeah, I just refinanced." And my heart kind of sank. Like, I thought I changed your life, and yet you did not call me to refinance. But it wasn't her fault; it was my fault. I didn't. Back then we didn't know. We didn't communicate. Mm-hmm. And what was I doing for her post closing? I wasn't doing anything for her.
Right.
And that kind of ties into the shift in the business, and kind of where I'm going with it is, I'm really, I don't have past customers. You used to have in the business, we'd call them past customers. Yep. There's no such thing as a past customer. They're just a customer.
Right. That's kind of a good way to look at it.
Exactly.
If you get your mindset right. It's not a past customer. You are my continued client.
You are my continued client. And, it's that is a challenge to, stay in front of people without bothering them, but you got to be valuable to them, So that's, the kind of the way I look at it. And I think going forward in this industry is I feel like you have to make a choice. And I think this is for realtors and lenders, is with all the iBuyers and online lenders, either you got to be the cheapest or the most valuable.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. That's a really good point. The cheapest or the most valuable.
You got to make a choice. And I choose to be the most valuable.
That's actually I've never thought about that. Either you got to be the cheapest or the most valuable.
You got people undercutting if that's what you want to do, but there's a lot that you're losing when you do that.
Right. Well, and we know when you get cheap, you get a lack of service as well.
Right.
That's very interesting. I'm going to take that point,
Okay, I'll let you use that.
Yeah. Okay, so how long have you been in the mortgage industry now?
Geez, how many years? Because again, it was January of 98.
22, 23.
23. Well, it'll be 22. It'll be January of 22 pretty soon. So that's, what's that, 24 years?
24.
Okay. What are your thoughts about the state of the current mortgage industry and the real estate industry with all this low inventory and these interest rates, these very low rates, lowest ever, are now starting to creep up? What are your thoughts on the market and where it's going?
Well, I think that it's a supply and demand problem in terms of the values going up, and I don't think that's going to change. There's really nothing that's going to change that. So the rate of appreciation has slowed down, but it's still going to appreciate. Mm-hmm. So, in rates, yes, rates are creeping up. I think, as we all know, that, inflation is kind of the enemy of rates, and inflation is here right now. You all see it, when we go to the store or fill up our gas tanks.
Pump, yep.
Yeah. So, so I think there is some misconception out there of people that, hey, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till the market settles down. I'm going to wait. But they're only going to get further in the hole because rates are going to go up and values are still going to go up. So it's not really a time to wait.
That's that cost. Go ahead.
And when we heard on the news, last week, that inflation was at its highest level in 31 years. So I did the math and figured, okay, 31 years ago was like 89 or something of that nature, right? Yeah, 89 or 90. And I went, wow, we didn't really have inflation in 1990, did we? Yeah. But we had inflation in the 80s, and we had inflation in the late 70s. And, the thing that struck me when I heard that was, what? Oh, we've still got a ways to go before we're really feeling inflation, because it could get worse, and I would expect it to get worse, to be honest with you.
Right.
So those of us that lived through the 80s, even if we were just kids, like I remember going to the Gap jeans store and spending $90 on a pair of jeans. And my stepfather got mad because that was a lot of money back then, but my mom treated me and bought me one pair of jeans. Maybe we returned them. I don't even know. But, but you go $90 for a pair of jeans. Like I go to Costco and get them for $20,
Right.
you know?
Well, that's
Right.
funny because I bought my first computer in 1998. It had a 12-inch monitor. It had 112 megabyte
Oh
RAM.
my gosh.
And it cost $2,200.
Yeah.
Where I just
Was it
bought,
an Apple thing?
No,
Was it
no.
Apple?
This
No?
was a Compact was
Oh,
the brand,
yep,
if you
I remember
that.
those, yep.
And now I just bought my daughter a laptop, and it's got a terabyte hard drive, 32 megabyte or gigabyte RAM.
Yeah.
It's just insane, and it's only
Yeah.
$900. So it's a hell of a
Yeah.
lot cheaper
Yeah.
for computers than it was 20 years ago.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So when you think about inflation being at its worst levels, it's like, hold on to your hats, folks. But
Right.
that's not going to be good for interest rates.
Yeah.
No.
And
no.
regardless of the market, people have to have a roof over their head.
Yeah.
Regardless of what interest rates are, regardless of inflation, they got to have a roof over their head, and they need someone to help navigate through that.
Sure. Well, I think if I recall correctly, when I started in the business in 1998, there was a bit of a refi boom happening at that time.
Do you remember what rates were back
I
then?
think in the sevens, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was refinancing people into 7%,
Yeah. From 8
Right. Yeah.
or 10 even.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Dave. So as we want to teach our consumers is, people need to find you, and you want to serve the consumers here. What differentiates yourself in the marketplace? In other words, what's your special sauce? Why would people want to do business with Dave Saylor?
Well, I think, again, part of it, and so, kind of going back to what I touched on before, one thing that I'm thankful for in the mortgage industry from when I started, because frankly, there was some questionable ethics on some loan officers when I first started, is I think as an industry, we've really gotten better. Like, kind of take out some online lenders, but most local lenders, I mean, a lot of them are friends of mine, they're good. They can close a loan. They can communicate. They can close it on time. And that's where I think the industry, we're due for another kind of, kind of upgrade in service. And I think what that is post-closing. Because as an industry, I still think we close a loan, we put them on some sort of maybe email campaign and say, hey, if you ever need anything, call me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, So I'm a part of a program called The Art of Homeownership.
The Art of Home Ownership.
Yes.
Please expand on that, please.
So it's a platform that I'm a part of. I offer it to all my customers. There's no cost for it. There's a lot of services, too much for me to go into right now. But I think, the main thing is, again, it's kind of raising the bar, and it really, people say customer for life, but then again, what are they actually doing? They're just sending them some email So this is one of the things I do is I really get into their total financial picture, and I do an annual financial review, and I'm asking them not just about their mortgage. I'm asking them, look, what's your goals? What's your long game plan? Have you thought about generational wealth? Where do you want to live? Do you want to move to Florida? Do you want a second home up north? What's your goal? And let's see if I can help you achieve that goal. And, people sometimes they want stuff, but they don't put a plan in place to get it. And so I kind of help them with that. And not that I'm an expert at everything, but I picked up some knowledge over the years, and I have a team. Like, I have a financial planner, I have a CPA, I have an estate attorney, those things in place that I can then, refer to my customers. I can give you a quick example, if you don't mind. So I had a customer that was a repeat customer. They had bought their house mid-20s, had done well in this market. They wanted to sell and upgrade. They had a particular kind of area that they wanted to buy in, and it was a pretty significant jump up in upgrade from the current home. And they were doing well. And I kind of looked at their situation, and we could get creative and get them to this price point that they wanted. But I wanted to dig a little deeper and throw some things out there, because in looking at their situation, I noticed a couple things. They were in their early 30s now, and they were going to do well on their home. But for me to qualify them, there was some credit card debt that was not going to get paid off. And neither one of them had started investing in a 401k or any kind of retirement plan at all. And I kind of pointed this out to them, and I don't think anybody had ever really showed them that. I even showed them a chart of if they started investing $100 a month at this age compared to if they waited 5 years, 10 years. And with this home that they wanted, there was no extra. There was no paying off that credit card debt. There was no investing in their 401k. And through that conversation, they decided, I just gave them the information, you know what, this price point that we were thinking we wanted, we're going to come down on that so that we can pay off the credit card debt and we can start investing in that 401k. And my, hope or goal is someday, it might be 30 years from now, and I might be long gone, but they're going to be looking at their retirement and looking at their 401k statement, and they're going to say, wow, that Dave guy, that was some pretty good advice. He hooked us up, man.
Yeah. He hooked us up. He wasn't so bad.
Yeah, he wasn't so bad after all.
And I still get an email from him.
But managing your mortgage is more than just the tree in front of the house, the flowers that, attract you, the piece of property that it's on. It is your biggest investment in life, and it is more than just one transaction.
Yes, it's for most people, it's their biggest asset and also their largest debt.
Yeah.
So,
but I know we all work together and we kind of have the same philosophies of utilizing that mortgage, not for a mortgage, but to use it as a vehicle towards a quality of life, to build wealth and just, again, quality of life, because we got to enjoy getting there.
Sure. With especially with first-time home buyers, I really encourage and offer to help if they want it. I have a form that they do a budget.
Yeah.
Just do a budget.
Yeah.
Because they
Shocking.
don't teach that. They don't teach it in school.
Yeah.
I think it's important. People don't come to me when they come to me for a mortgage, and I always ask, well, will you have when they want to buy, do you have a price range in mind? And, they'll usually throw something out there, but they'll throw it out there not having any idea what the payment is. And that'll usually be my second question. Okay, well, what about a payment that you're comfortable with? And sometimes they'll throw out a number, but they really haven't looked into that number. Like they haven't done a budget.
Or on the other hand, because I have those same kind of meetings, I'll say, what payment are you comfortable with? And they'll say X amount. And I go, what's that based off of? They go, well, that's based off of all the other payments we have on our debts, credit cards, car payments, student loans, and all that. So it goes to say about structuring that philosophy or that long game plan of looking at that debt and wiping it out.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you this here. What are you currently doing to market your business? How do you let these homeowners know that where you are and how they get a hold of you? How do you market your business?
Well, I don't spend a lot of money on marketing. It is definitely referral based. Again, I've been in this community doing loans for a long time, and I believe I've gotten a pretty good reputation over the years. So I'm known in the real estate community, and that's where a lot of it comes from. And also, again, the customers. I mean, when you go with that in depth, like I was talking with the clients, not only do I, and again, going back to that first closing, I offered her nothing. There was no reason really for her to come back to me post closing. I offered her nothing. So now not only am I seeing them come back, but I'm seeing a higher rate of them referring people to me. I'm
because they know you're taking care of them, so they want to refer their friends and family to you. Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Are there other things that you want to do to market your business and get your word out to the consumers of what services you have to offer?
I am a little bit old. I could just say old, but old and old school. So, I certainly embrace things like, this podcast and more social media type of stuff. That's probably what I probably should embrace that a little bit more than what I have so far.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're busy, though.
Exactly.
Jim and I drove by the office on Saturday, and your car was there.
Yeah.
And Jim goes, "Who's working today?" I said, "Oh, that's Dave. He's usually here on Saturday morning to get some work done."
Yeah.
Said he likes work, got stuff to do, and the
Right.
office is nice and quiet.
Exactly. Yeah, get a lot done on Saturdays.
What do you see for the future of mortgages and real estate? What do you see going on there in the future? Is it going to continue? Where are rates going to go? Do you think people are going to be wanting to buy second homes and investment properties and all those homes in Florida? What do you see of the future of real estate?
I think so. I mean, real estate's not going anywhere. And like you said, people need a home over their heads. And I think we're kind of being kind of more in the Midwest, I think gives us an advantage because we don't necessarily have the huge upswings and downswings. Now, we've had a pretty good upswing here, but, there's some areas in the country where they follow that with a huge downswing. Like, we tend to be more steady, over time it's going to appreciate,
what's our average in Michigan? 3 or 4% over the last...
On what? Appreciation?
Real estate appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
over the last 25 years, it's been 4%, but
Right.
in Livingston County, I think we've experienced double digits in the last couple of years here.
Right,
So
right.
it's going up quite significantly.
Yeah.
But we're still for people to think about that, particularly Livingston County. We had a loss 12 years ago, back in 2008. It has taken us this long, those of us that were homeowners, to fully catch up there.
Yeah.
So it's not like, again, we're not seeing like California where you have these pendulum swings like, oh, property values go up 50% and then they go down 60%.
Right.
Michigan's not like that.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
we tend to tug along, but we've not only caught up to our losses from the 08 crash, 09 crash, we've actually surpassed that, and we're kind of just tugging along, which I kind of like that recipe. Nothing too extreme, but it's just a nice, steady growth. Yeah,
Yes.
I feel very comfortable in that.
As far as the mortgages, I will say that there was a time when I was starting to get a little concerned that, this industry was going to get tougher and tougher with, again, all the online. But I don't really feel that way anymore because I think it's still a people business.
Yeah.
And
I think people crave information more now. And I think there's a lot of people that have gotten stuck on that the .com train
Right.
that don't see results. They don't close their loan. They don't get the house that they wanted for various reasons, and they're now looking in different directions.
Well,
Absolutely.
and as those people look for the cheapest loan in the world, they're not offered the services like you offer, Dave, with that art of home ownership
Right.
and that holistic approach to a quality of life.
exactly.
And I think that's our edge here
Yeah.
as local.
It goes back to
loan
the
officers.
education. Yep.
I get so many calls from realtors saying, "Oh my God, you guys did a wonderful job. I can't believe you did that, and I can't believe that lender did that." And I always state, well, if it wasn't for lenders like that, I'd be out of a job, wouldn't I?
Right.
So it does help to be local and have those relationships.
Well, you think about hiring a financial advisor, which a lot of people do. Most people don't leave their retirement accounts without any financial advice, right? I mean, even if you just invest in your company's 401k plan, that's managed by financial advisors that are telling you what funds to put your money in. You might be able to choose the funds that you put your money in, but there's still people behind that are making those choices and giving you that direction.
Right.
I know financially, I have a great financial advisor, and I've done better and made better decisions than I could have ever done on my own, right? Bring a professional in. Like I
Right.
do hope to retire someday and,
Right.
get somewhere.
That's funny because, as I meet with clients, we tend to just by default gain all this knowledge because we're in these circles, and people will ask me, Vic, are you a financial planner? I said, absolutely not. Well, why do you have a financial planner? I go, because I don't have time to sit there in the monitors and look at stocks all day. I pay the professionals because that's their lane.
Right.
That's why I have an accountant, financial planner, a trust attorney, and a real estate attorney. You got to have those professional people in your life like you have there.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things too, and I know this has been important to all of us, and we all did this about the same time last year. We all earned a designation called Certified Mortgage Advisor. which was a heck of a class, requires continuing, ongoing, annual education. But that also brings a different depth of knowledge, right, to what
Right.
we offer in our practice to say, okay, how can we help our customers?
It raises our bar as loan officers amongst our competition.
Right.
It takes
Right.
us to a whole nother level there. Now, Dave, I understand, I see you in the office there on Saturdays and all that, and you're always working the business plan, but I see you're starting to grow there, and now you're starting to build a team with a new assistant that I believe was hired, or you're in the midst of bringing on this new individual. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, I think, ultimately, as you grow, you need help. You can't do it all yourself, and that's a lesson I'm still learning as far as trying to do everything myself. And I was just talking about this yesterday because there is that fear. There's that fear that if I'm not a part of every conversation or every, interaction with the customers or the realtors, like, am I going to lose something? And I've noticed already that it's actually probably the opposite, and I see it in my reviews. We get, we do these reviews after closings, and they're I've been fortunate. They're seem like they're all coming in 5-star, but it's more about the comments. The comments always say Dave and his team. His team was great. That's, I think that's awesome. So they're understanding, and I look at some of those and I'm like, wow, I feel like
You can let go.
I can let go,
and focus your mind to where it's customer based for the overall strategy.
Exactly, and it's about their experience, the customers. It's not as long as you got the right team. You got to have the right team, but when you do, and it allows me to go out and help more people.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good strategy. So, speaking about the team now, so what are your goals for your business for the next year or 2 years? What are your business goals now?
I am, despite me, kind of saying that I'm old, I'm in growth mode. I love building, and I just want to keep growing because, again, I do feel like I actually have something to offer, and I think it's valuable, and I think I'm in a position, especially with what I'm doing now, that I can help change people's lives for the better. So why wouldn't I want to do more of that? So I just want to continue to expand and grow.
Excellent. So let me ask you this. So with your past clients, or let's call them your clients, because
Right.
you don't have past
I
clients.
don't have past clients.
They're only clients. So what means do you have to stay in touch with them now that you're kind of growing and you're really looking at your overall business plan? And of course, we have clients, but how do you stay in touch with your clients now, and how will you in the future?
Well, I think, again, coming back to the art of home ownership, again, there's a lot more that I'm not going to peel the onion on right now, but there is that annual financial review, which really gets me intimately involved, because when I do that, I take notes, and we'll look back at it, and I'll say, okay, last year, here's what you wanted to do. Here's what your goal was, the customer. How'd we do on that? Where are we at on that? Let's modify things. The other thing is they get a monthly report. It's called a Real Estate Wealth Digest. And what this does, it's pretty cool. I get it myself, is it tells them their estimated current value of their home. So as we mentioned before, their home is likely in a lot of cases, their biggest asset. So it's kind of like getting your monthly, like a 401k statement. People look at that.
Yeah.
So why not look at your current home value? And it's very interactive. They can go in there and say, okay, what if I was to pay an extra $100 towards principal? Then what would that do? How much sooner would I pay off this mortgage? It tells them their value for if they were to rent the home, if they were to make it an Airbnb. So it gives them a lot of information, and people look at it. People are. It's not just some canned email. Again, not that there's some good programs out there, CRMs, but this is it's very specific to them. So that's one of the ways they do it. They get that monthly, and everybody opens it. There's also a home concierge service, which is almost like an assistant for their home. And there's a website. We actually send a person out there to do an inspection on the home, and in that inspection, they create this website, and it has everything about their home on there. Their paint colors, their filter sizes, their for the front.
So somebody physically goes out to the home.
Somebody physically goes out to the home,
and this is no cost to your customer.
Cost. It's got all their dimensions for their appliances. I have the service too, of course, and I had a fridge that I knew it was getting ready to replace, and I was at the office. My daughter called me and said the fridge is out. I'm like, all right. I went to the website, went online, and ordered a new fridge. I didn't have to go home and get out my measuring tape and figure out, okay, what size fridge can I fit in here? So it's just, and you can actually have work quoted through this website. So if you need, it's pretty cool. And it'll get you
So it's not a scam. It's an actually working tool.
It's a working tool, and it'll send you reminders. And again, it's called the art of home ownership because it's, you get a first-time home buyer. I've done it before. You forget to change your furnace filter.
Oh, yeah.
It'll send you a reminder. Hey,
no, my wife forgot to change the furnace filter. Actually, we just did that over the weekend. Yeah. And the water filters, for God's sake.
Exactly. So you're not going to forget this stuff. So it helps you maintain your home. And, of course, maintaining your home means you're going to get more on resale, So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so those are kind of the ways we stay in touch.
That is actually, I've never went in that deep with it.
Yes.
What other bells and whistles does this thing have?
It has, for example, on the front end, there is a service where you can go to this. It provides you with a website. Everything. It's called the relocation service. So, when you're moving, there's a lot to do, right? As far as changing utilities, changing your address, changing your driver's license, setting up a moving truck. Getting cable and internet and all that. So this website, you can do it all through that. So number one, it helps you not to forget anything. And you can do everything. You can get your moving truck quote. You can change your utilities all through this website. It'll send you to different links to get things done. You write to the USPS to change your address, everything. So it just kind of makes the process easier. It's a one-stop shop. I'm moving. I go to this spot, and I take care of everything having to do with moving.
Well, that seems like a very good tool. What about your referral partners and your real estate agents? Are you bringing them on board to promote this art of home ownership?
Well, I have partners, which I alluded to before, like financial planners and estate attorneys and all that are part of it. Real estate agents, they can sign up under me. I have not promoted that yet or done that yet because, frankly, I can provide those services. So I don't want them to start paying for something if they don't need to pay for it.
Understood. But I guess my point is because our business is really real estate agent heavy. That's where all our referrals come from. What are you doing to promote that to real estate agents to let them know how you're taking care of their clients? Because this is a real added value from what I see.
Well, here's the couple things on that. One is, with that monthly email to get on their wealth real estate digest, I know when they're clicking on things. So they can actually look at homes on the market through this website. They can look and see if they want to dig further on their current home's value. So when I see them doing that, I contact the agent and say, look, they might be looking to sell, or they might be looking to buy something, or maybe they're looking at a second home. I have all that information.
And you're going to refer your client to a real estate agent that understands their particular area, their wants, needs, and desires.
Absolutely. And then the other part of it is, if it's a loan closing that I had with a real estate agent, I can note that with this client. And, this creates, like I mentioned before, not only getting client repeat business, but referrals from clients. So if I'm getting the referral, now a new purchase, maybe their coworker wants to buy a house, they're referring to me because they're getting all this information, valuable, information from me. Now I go to that realtor that was initially on the deal and say, look, our mutual customer just referred me a new customer. let's have you work the real estate in, and
So
I'll work the mortgage
you're
in.
building a great, solid referral network between your customers and the real estate agents that they trust.
It's increasing referral business for both me and the realtor.
And taking care of the consumer.
Absolutely.
And their fathers, brothers, and in-laws.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's very interesting. Danielle, you got any questions for Dave here at all?
It sounds like a great system. Really, really cool. Yeah. Really cool. And I think, again, consumers are looking for more of that personal touch and, planning their finances.
The thing about it is it's actually, not only is it great for them and it's great for business, but I feel pretty good about it because, again, I know I'm actually
doing something.
I'm actually
helpful.
doing something helpful.
Well, actually, I'm a little jealous, and I ask you what your secret sauce is. I'm going to steal some of that sauce because, of course, we always want to add value, but it sounds like you found something there that is actually an extension of your professionalism here to help your clients there. Yeah, I actually, after the show, I'm going to want to know a little bit more about this.
Yeah, can you sign us up for this? I need help with my furnace.
Well, Dave, is there anything else you would like to let our consumer know about you and why they want to work with you, and also how are they going to contact you?
I think we kind of covered it. I mean, again, you want somebody that's going to take the time. That's obviously there's the mortgage itself, and going over the best options, and somebody that's gonna, again, if you need to meet on a Saturday, if you got it, you've got customers that sometimes they need a little more, hand holding, we'll say, and if that's what they need, then that's what they'll get.
So you encourage a face-to-face meeting because it's a pretty big investment.
Again, I'm a little bit old school, so I still, I use our mortgage app, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I use that as a starting point after an initial conversation, but then we dig in after that. Whereas with, let's say, I guess I won't name any online lenders, but I think we know some of them.
Willow, isn't it Willow or something like
Socket?
that?
Is there Socket? But that's all they somebody does the online app, and then there's no consultation after that, so
one and done, man.
Right. And to me, you're doing people a disservice. How do you know what is the best option for them and the best mortgage if there's no consultation?
Oh, yeah.
You got to have a conversation at least.
That's like going online and treating yourself for cancer.
Yeah.
It's like maybe you ought to go see a doctor or get a second opinion, for God's sake. I mean, these are big investments, and it just dumbfounds me by why someone would just do so little research, or they'll do a lot of research and get some wrong information, and not knowing that your mortgage is in particular and unique to your needs and wants, and that's where that hand-holding, that designing, that mortgage comes into play.
Yes.
To me, a mortgage is a double-edged sword. It could be the greatest thing you ever got, or it could be the worst thing if you don't plan it correctly.
Right.
It could kill you.
Well,
Sure.
I mean, those of us that lived through the 08 and 09, I mean, how many people got into what you would call a toxic mortgage, not understanding what interest only meant, not understanding 80/20s, that they weren't putting any money down. People got into trouble because of that. And we don't see that as often, but there are some situations where, for instance, people focus on the lowest rate and don't pay any attention to what they're paying in closing cost.
Right.
I mean, we can quote you any rate if you want to pay any closing cost, but what makes sense at the end of the day? Yes, you need a payment you can live with, but if it's going to cost you $10,000 more at closing and you only plan on living in that house for 5 years, you're not even going to recoup what you're paying at closing, and consumers don't understand that, and it makes it very difficult to shop for a mortgage for that reason these days.
It's funny because I'll have a client that wants to invest and they want to flip properties, and we'll get them a rate. Go, that rate's a little high or whatever, or the costs are a little high. Go, well, then let's do the no cost loan. Why would you pay closing cost on a loan if you're going to buy this property and sell it in 4 months? Why would you pay cost?
Right.
Let us just raise the rate a little bit and cover all your costs. It makes more financial sense. And a lot of people don't really understand how those dynamics work. You can get any rate in the world you want. Just what are you willing to pay? And is it smart to do so? And that's where an advisor like yourself and us come into play here. So
Absolutely.
it's very interesting. So as we wrap up the show, Dave, how would one get a hold of you if they want more information?
Well, I think, DaveSaylorLoans.com, that's got all my information. I mean, I work by my cell phone, obviously a lot, which is, that's another interesting development, like even in the past 3 or 4 years. So you go back, 4 or 5 years, I remember, you'd see somebody sitting at their desk and they're texting you, and you think they're screwing around, they're not working, but that's my main communication. If I'm sitting at my desk texting, I'm working. I'm texting customers, customers or realtors. So, my cell phone is my lifeline there too, which I don't know, should I give out that number?
Yeah, absolutely. Give out your cell phone number.
810-923-6449.
Yeah.
So you're not playing Minecraft on your phone?
No.
Okay. I was worried about that once, but
I looked at my phone. I don't have any games on my phone at
No.
all.
Who's got time for that?
No, nothing. I don't know what people do on their phone. Like, I look at my kids and they're on their phone nonstop, but they're not
working.
They're not productive.
What are they doing?
What are you doing?
I try sometimes if I have a few minutes, I look on my phone to try to find something to do,
or find a local restaurant.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's Dave Saylor, over 20 years in the business, longtime friend, advocate. I guess competition, but a very respectful competition, because we utilize each other for our knowledge and experience. And Danielle, any other closing words there?
Well, it's been, thanks Dave for coming on today. Great to kind of to dive deep a little bit. But the one thing that we have said since we kind of all joined forces, 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, was that we all have different personalities. We all have different background, and we are stronger together because of that. So we certainly appreciate you coming on today, Dave, and we have a lot of great resources, and you certainly are one of them. So we appreciate it.
And did you realize at this table we have over 70 years experience in the industry between us three? That's
I think it's probably over 75.
I don't want to go there.
That's
but
like
anyway,
a long time.
That was Danielle Boote. We got Dave Saylor. My name is Victor Bals, and this is a smarter way home. And we got to remember, we all got to try to get along. And we'll see you next time on A Smarter Way Home.
Together